Sex crimes are an interesting set of criminal acts, generally covered from everything from rape on down to inappropriate sexual behavior with a minor or inappropriate sexual touching. And I put those kind of in the same basket, though they're very different crimes with very different elements, very different factual basis. The reason I put all those in there is because I want to talk about what it means to make that case to a jury. Like, how do you go to a set of laypersons? How do you go to a set of jurors who've never maybe experienced anything like the criminal justice system, and you talk to them about a sex crime? Because what happens when they walk in the courtroom is they think, oh, he's accused of a sex crime, we'll just throw him away, right? Like, I'm just going to err on the side of just throwing this person in jail, and it doesn't matter. And so how do you humanize, right? How do you connect a jury to your client in a way that makes sense so that they understand that he's a person and he deserves their reasonable consideration on whether or not the facts equal the elements of the crime and whether or not he should be found guilty? A few weeks ago, we acquitted someone on a third-degree rape charge. In that particular case, what was pretty obvious was that the young lady consented to the sex act. Even though she had taken the stand and was willing to say she didn't, she had sent texts, she had communicated with other people, she had conveyed to them that she consented to the sex acts and changed her story to law enforcement. And though that was a judgment call by the jury at the end of the day, they still had to believe the client, right? They couldn't just not believe the witness, right? Having a witness be believable or kind of be, I don't know if I should believe him or not, I'm on the fence, loses if your client's not a human being, right? Loses if your client's not the kind of person that a jury wants to believe in, wants to set free, wants to walk out of the courtroom. And so how do you humanize your client under those circumstances when the crime being charged is this heinous violent act, right? This heinous violent sexual act. And the way that you do that is you humanize by talking to them about your client, right? Frame the story in a way that makes sense so that the client becomes a person, a regular person. Oftentimes just like the juror themselves, right? If they can see themselves in the client, if they can see themselves, getting caught up in something bad, if they can see themselves getting into a tough spot and being at that table for any kind of crime, then they can empathize with your client in a way that makes sense, right? And at least listen to the story. What I want to do is I want to remove the stigma of the person sitting at the table by them understanding it could be them or their brother or their son or their wife or their uncle, right? It could be someone they know in that same position. And would you want them to have a fair shot at innocence? That's what we're trying to do. And that's what we're very, very good at. If you get into a tough spot, if you get charged with a sex crime, you know you're not guilty, you know you need a strong fight, you give us a call here at the Ambeau Law Firm. We're here to help.